Prosecutors in New York are reportedly looking into whether the Trump Organization broke the law by purposefully giving tax officials low property values for some of its buildings. According to the Washington Post, the former president's company gave potential lenders a higher value on those same properties. The Manhattan District Attorney and New York Attorney General are now reportedly investigating whether these vastly different estimates amounted to tax, bank, or insurance fraud. Jonathan O'Connell co-authored that report and joins me now with more. He's a business reporter for the Washington Post. Jonathan, welcome. Thanks very much for being with us. So which properties here are the focus of the investigation, and how much were some of these valuations?
Well, there are 4 properties that we're aware of that prosecutors are looking at. One is an office building that Trump owns in New York, 40 Wall Street. And then there's a golf course in Los Angeles that he owns. And then there are 2 properties in Westchester County, one being another golf resort and another being sort of an estate there. You know, these valuations are really, really different. And of course, we're talking about Trump in some cases going to lenders, banks, and saying, look how valuable my properties are, and sort of trying to really up the ante with lenders, but then going, of course, to property tax appraisers and saying, you know, look how little my property should be worth, so they get low tax appraisal. You know, some of the discrepancies are enormous. You'll see in California, for instance, he got a $25 million appraisal to get a tax easement on a property that he then later argued should be worth only $900,000. So, and same thing with 40 Wall Street, where, you know, he argued with tax appraisers that it should be worth $16.7 million, and then argued in other forums that it should be worth $527 million. So enormous discrepancies. Some discrepancies are sort of part of the industry, but the question is whether these are extreme or not.
Yeah, so what exactly is needed then for prosecutors to actually prove whether a crime was committed?
It's going to be difficult, and prosecutors and sort of former prosecutors we've talked to said it would really be helpful if the people investigating Trump here have somebody inside who can say, not only did Trump know, or somebody in Trump's company know, that they were providing misleading information in these forums, but also that they did it in order to defraud tax appraisers in some way, or else banks in some way. It can't just be an accidental thing, or they're trying to get an edge here and there, because that is very common in the industry. It has to be, you know, sort of providing fabricated or knowingly providing dishonest or misleading information, and doing it with the intent to sort of improve his financial situation.
So has the Trump Organization responded at all?
Yes, they have. You know, I think partly the Trump Organization and President Trump have, you know, this is a long line of different prosecutions that they view as politically motivated. Eric Trump told us that this one in particular, sort of, it's prosecutors acting as political weapons, and he thinks that this type of prosecution causes people to lose faith in the justice system, rather, because it does appear politicized to him.
Well, earlier this year, the Manhattan DA indicted the Trump Organization and its chief financial officer, Allen Weisselberg, on felony tax fraud charges. Could this investigation impact the property investigation?
That's a good question. Yeah, just to recap, there have been 2 grand juries convened. The first has really been focused on whether members of Trump's company have been illegally receiving tax benefits. And the prosecutors there have indicted Mr. Weisselberg, who is Trump's chief financial officer for many, many years, as well as 2 of Trump's companies. They have all pled not guilty. And prosecutors have not, to our knowledge, been able to get any information out of Mr. Weisselberg that might lead them to be able to charge Mr. Trump in some way. This second grand jury is looking at, as far as we know, again, the property appraisal issue and the property valuations. There doesn't appear to be any link in terms of these specific charges or potential charges, but they are both tax-related, certainly.
All right, we'll continue to follow it. Jonathan O'Connell, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much.